What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Shannon.
It's your man, Terance J.
And this is
The Last Podcast.
And why is this the last podcast, Terance J?
Because depending on what we say or what we do, this could quite possibly be
The Last Podcast.
So thank you guys for joining us. I know you've seen our posts telling you do not want to miss the show. So we're going to be doing a little different format tonight because we want to make sure that we get down to the root of some issues that you often see us debate against. And we'll go back to our debate format. But for the next couple of weeks, unless somebody slaps somebody at an award show, we do have a show planned.
Stephen A. Smith, you got any award shows coming up?
So make sure to follow us on Facebook. It is The Last Podcast 1. And on Instagram is _ the last podcast. Yeah, so want to make sure you guys connect with us. Let's get those Facebook numbers up. So if you have not followed us on Facebook, make sure to do that, and Instagram also. Also, before we also get into the show, I just want to give a big shout out to Miss LaCheryl Smith of the L Group PR firm. Your boy Terance J. I just signed with the PR firm, and so we're gonna try to take this whole brand and everything to the next level. So you guys stay tuned. You'll be able to say you was on the ground floor of the last podcast before we go and blow up Shaway. Yeah, I made that word up. So make sure to keep following us so you can stay tuned what we got going on. Our disclaimer.
Our disclaimer is we will still be friends after this show, no matter what is said, no matter what is done. We are going to have a different show tonight, so you won't really see much of the you won't see any of the sarcasm or the banter back and forth. Don't worry. We're not taking that out of the show permanently, but tonight, because of the message is so special, and we don't want anything to be lost in translation. We want to be more serious because this is a very serious topic. So for the next couple of weeks, we'll probably be, it'll be this type of style. But don't worry, we still ignorant.
We still here.
We still here.
Yeah, this is us.
This is us.
Yeah, but we got multiple sides.
Yeah, we're multifaceted.
Exactly. So this is the smartest ignorant show you ever watch anywhere else. So understand who we are. You guys been rocking with us from then. But like I said, do us a favor and make sure you share this because we want to have this conversation. I think so many times, excuse me, when we go into conversations when it talks about, men and women, there seems to be this, first of all, it starts off combative.
Yeah.
Then the defenses kick up. And a lot of times no one's ever heard. And even if you did hear the other person, no one acknowledges that the other person got heard. Yeah. So
And what we don't want to do is we don't want to listen just so that we can respond, on both sides. So we want to be heard, but we also want to listen because I want to hear what you have to say, and I want you to hear what I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just say this is not, I'm not speaking for all black women. I'm not speaking to all black men, but these are issues and these are things that we have seen, in our community, amongst our people. And if you are not black, that does not mean that you have to leave or, not share with your friends, because it is important for other cultures and other people to kind of see what we go through as a black community, because we live in our own world inside everybody else's world, and there are things that we have to contend with that other cultures and other ethnicities and races do not have to contend with. So if you want to learn something, you want to learn how really what our ins and outs, the ebbs and flow of the conversations between black men and black women, stay here, learn something, because I'm sure you have black friends, whether they be male or female, and this will probably help you, get to know them on a different level and see what they're dealing with. So,
and I like how you said that we live within our own world inside of the world. So, and a lot of times people don't understand outside of our culture that there's an insulated world that we have to be able to maneuver in, and we've always had to since the inception of this country.
Right.
We had to operate almost in a separate society, and so too many times in life, as just black people in general, we generally feel that no one takes the time to understand us because they don't have to.
Right.
In this world, you don't have to, what when they say black history, and here on this show we say black history is American history, because all of the growth of this country has been because of us, because we were the number one commodity that this country had. And so the thing is that we understand that if you were, as you do now, take out all of the black accomplishments outside of Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, you don't have to know anything about us. And so for anybody who is watching this that who is outside of our culture, this might give you more understanding of kind of what's going on. But we want to be clear: we are doing this for the edification of the growth of our community. All right. So but we're inclusive, so anybody want to watch this, they definitely can,
and share it.
Yeah, make sure you share this. So and this will be a part 2, because as you see, the title is Message to a Black Man Today, and then next week it'll be Message to a Black Woman. So all right, so with that being said, let's get into it. Message to a black man.
Message to a black man. And let me just say this, because I know you stated earlier that sometimes we have these conversations and we there's it's combative and everything, and I think the reason why is because we both want each other to understand that we've both been hurt. And we understand that as a black person in this country, we deal with a lot of trauma. And sometimes that trauma seeps into our own communal, families and communities, and it divides us. So this is not going to be a combative or an argument or combative conversation on I'm hurt. Well, who's hurt the most? Well, I'm a black woman, so I have to hurt the most. I'm a black man. You don't understand what I go through. We're not gonna do that, because we understand that we both have been hurt. We've gone through trauma, and it's important for us to understand. Okay, I know you have pain, and I know that you have pain, and we've both been hurt. Now, how do we come together, and how do we heal, and how do we move forward and progress so that we can be better for our future, and our future are our children. Whitney Houston.
Yeah, and that's what we want to do. So so we had a conversation, and to give you understanding of you guys watch this show and understand that we like to reference our history a lot. And so there was a conversation between Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin that happened in 1971, and they had a conversation I thought was they took the time away from, okay, we're going to go back and forth, and although they both wanted to make their points, they were saying, let's find out what this thing is.
Right.
And so I said, man, we need to have that conversation here on the last podcast. So that's why this is titled that Message to a Black Man. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to get into the Me Too, like Shannon said. Oh, well, we feel that way too. And also, even before the show, I told her, I said, hey, if I say something that makes you feel like it's on the Me Too type situation, like, oh, I heard that we feel that way too, I said, let me know, but also let me know how I could have said it to where it wouldn't have made you feel that way. Right. And I think that also goes along with when we start talking about communication with each other, and we're all learning in this thing. So sometimes you feel a certain way, but then what you felt or what your intent was, what it was. And so it's good when somebody able to say, hey, you might not have intended to do that, but this is kind of how it came off. So
right. So like I said, I'm not speaking for all black women. I'm not speaking to all black men. But these are conversations that I've had with numerous amounts of black women, and the discussion is always around the same thing. The first thing is, it feels like that black men hate us. It feels like that no matter what we do, there always seems to be a sense of hate and bitterness towards black women. And we do not want to be your enemies. there is a level of ridicule that we feel like no matter what we do, we will always be ridiculed. It's never going to be the correct thing, you know. Black women, our demographics is the highest demographic of college education right now, and we hear black men a lot say, we don't care about your degree. We don't care about you, you going to school. Your degree is not going to get you a husband. Your degree, we don't care, and that diminishes our accomplishments, because for a black woman to be ahead in that particular demographics, as far as education, that's a really big thing to us, right? Because when the time came for us to go to school and to vote and everything, we were still the last people as black women. So that's a big accomplishment to us. We would like for it to be seen as an accomplishment for you guys also, because we are still your women. We are still your sisters. We are still your wives and your mothers and, your friends. And we would like to feel we would like to feel validated by you guys. And that is not a bad thing. Seeking validation, because why shouldn't we seek validation from our men? Because you are our men, you are our leaders, you are our covering, there are often times where we feel abandoned by you guys. Did I always say abandoned?
No, you haven't
okay.
said abandoned.
Oftentimes we feel abandoned, and it's not even about the interracial couplings or anything like that. It just feels like you have completely checked out of this, this beautiful song and dance that we have as a black man and a black woman. And we get ridiculed a lot, Sometimes it feels like we're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. If we wear our hair with weaves and wigs, we get ridiculed about that. If we wear our hair in a natural state, we get ridiculed about that. We're too dark, we're too light, we're too big, we're too small. If we go into education, you've chosen this over your man. And we just want to know, where do we fit in for you guys?
Okay.
I know I said a lot, I'm trying to scale down on my notes. So
okay, and so and I was trying to pick and choose some of those points that you were making, and I think the thing is that when we look at your accomplishments, let's go to those.
Okay.
We're talking about education and getting your education, because for a long time there was not an opportunity to be able to go and do it. And so then when you not only are able to go and get your college degree, but also are pushed to go get it, and say, hey, go out there and further your education if you have the ability to go out there and do it. And I think overall, when we categorize things as men, we compartmentalize things, right? Overall, to say, hey, you're getting your education to be able to be these things that require, a degree, and you want to go on to go do certain things. And I don't think that we, in that sense, my opinion, diminish your accomplishments, right? Go on, sis, go do your thing. A lot of men were raised by single women. They, go do your things. They have daughters, so go to school, go get what you need to get. There was a tie-in when you start bringing in relationship with it, right? And I think, and I've often said that your degree usually don't change the trajectory of kind of how a guy sees you, right? Because that's generally not what is the attractive thing about you. If you got it, you good. But the thing is, and I asked a couple women this actually in the conversation, and they all kind of agreed. I said, do you think that if two women were side by side and looked exactly alike, or no, I'm sorry, if there were two women and there was one woman who didn't look as good, but had the degree, and the other woman looked better, didn't have the degree. I said, did her degree make her look better to the average man to say, I'm getting the one with the degree, not the one? And most of the women said, nah, they're going to choose the one that they feel is more physically attractive, right? As long as it's not some type of woman that's going to go in and tear down the house, tear down everything you built, but just all based off of that. We're very visual, right? And I don't want to get caught into that. I want to go back to what you were saying about diminishing the You're so crazy. We're trying, y'all. Diminishing the accomplishments. So I'll say this: I don't diminish any accomplishment when it comes to a woman going out there making her way. I have a daughter. I want her to be able to go and get those things that she desired too. And I personally don't feel that guys say, "Why are you in school?" I mean, we understand that a lot of jobs that don't even need a degree requires a degree.
Right.
Why do you need a degree to be a correctional officer? You know what I'm saying? But you got to have one to do it. So go out there and do it.
Do you feel like that you guys have been left behind, or do you feel like that Black women are moving in different spaces and leaving you with I don't want to say with the same, because it feels like that. And I sent you a video of this guy, and he said he was talking to heterosexual Black men, and he was saying that you guys complain about everything, but everybody else is kind of moving and making their way through the world and progressing, and you guys are still in the same place complaining about what everybody else is doing, as opposed to making your own way and progressing. And that's something that we spoke to pre-show, or we spoke about pre-show, that it feels like I say this all the time: Black men are the hottest commodity on the planet. Everybody wants you. Everybody wants you. You bring flavor and life and vivaciousness to whatever it is, whatever area, whatever it is that you touch, you bring to life. And you have this power. You have this power to manifest these things that no other man on the planet can do. Yet you stay stagnant in these excuses sometimes on, well, I can't do this because, I'm a Black man and a white man is, so I can't do this because, I'm y'all, Black women, y'all, say do this or do that. It feels like there's these pockets of excuses, and Black women are saying, if I had half the power you had,
But here's the difference sometimes, because you don't have the power, and I don't mean that offensively. You're able sometimes to maneuver in areas that they see us coming. And so a lot of times you can get into places that we get stopped at the door. And it's like, yeah, I got the power, but I can't even get into the game because I'm feared so much a lot of times. They don't want me because guess what? We already know a strong male figure in his community, in his house, changes everything. And so there has been a systematic construction to make sure that they dismantle that. And so the video you sent me, honestly, when I watched that,
were you offended?
I was a little offended.
Yeah.
Because I sent it
to you to offend.
I said, okay,
who
stagnant.
Yeah.
I said, stagnant. I want to know, like, in what area? What area that you see or that he thought that the Black men were stagnant and everybody is leaving us, and then we're becoming some type of Neanderthal that is just sitting over in the corner saying, "Woe is me."
Yeah.
Because if you look at
sometimes that is the feeling.
But if you let's look at just the stats and you pull it up. if you look at, let's just go to money. Black men still out earn black women. So who is progressing and leaving us? Nobody has. We're not at the bottom. I mean, black people in general, we at the bottom of the total income,
Right.
but we always have been. And it's like,
But is it the wage gap between black men and black women? Is it because women are paid, by proportion less than men in general? I've heard that argument from black men. When you black women go, you boast about being the highest educated demographic, but you still make less than everybody else. And when I say that is very dismissive, because it diminishes our accomplishments, because we don't want to make less than everybody else. Trust me. And we work our asses off to fill in that gap as much as we can. But it's not like we're just accepting pennies. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, and I think looking at it from an economical standpoint, and I've done some research in that. When you look at that number and say the overall earning from black men to black women, what I found is that a lot of times there was a study that came out that said that yes, black women were the highest segment of educated, but they had a net worth of $5, and it was saying that yes, you have the degree, but it hadn't turned into the wealth as of now, right? And so I think a lot of times
is it because we're taken care of?
Well, I think a lot of times we're the highest segment population of educated people. I've heard that a lot of time used as a weapon
From black women.
Yeah. And so of course, okay. Well, guess what?
Right.
You ain't got nothing.
And then there's a defense. Yeah.
So the thing is that so now it becomes that combative thing where we're like, okay, well, what does that mean, right? Also, I would employ as advice for a lot of black women that are getting ready to go to school when they're at a young age, or if you got kids that are getting ready at a younger age, start to push them into the money-making fields, because a lot of times we know all degrees ain't created equal.
This is true.
And so you got a degree in English. What money are you going to make in that? You got the degree, but you don't like kids, so you don't want to teach. You know what I'm saying? But you went to school, and it was a reference back to the Kanye West "When We All Fall Down." 5 years you ain't picked a career. You just I got the degree, and I've asked people, "Hey, what is your degree in? What do you do it?" I don't know, because we're still so new to college that by the time we got into it, the college game had changed, and we're still being sold the bill of goods. Hey, get your college degree, right? So, but I want to say this, and to anybody who's listening, the thing is, we don't want to come off as saying that, or making you feel that you accomplishing getting a college degree or any of your other accomplishments, or is small. But you got to understand, there's certain energy that comes with how you say stuff.
Yeah.
That now there's a return energy that's going to come with that.
And I understand that. And I also want to let me pivot into something different, because this is something that we of course we talk about pre-show, but this comes up a lot. The notion of the strong black independent woman. We are strong black independent women, not because we wanted to be, but because we had to be. And we don't want to be strong black independent women anymore. We don't want to. We want a space created by our men where we can thrive and live in our femininity, where we can be beautiful black feminine women who don't have to take on the role of being the strong, the fierce, because we get weary, and we're women, and we want to be able to thrive in that role, and we can't if we're having to be strong all the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and what we really want is for our men to say, our black men to say, it's okay. You don't have to be always strong. You don't have to feel like you have to do it all. We are here. Now, I'm gonna try to be contradictory.
Well, it's
But
dualities in life, so we understand.
But it is, since some of us have been functioning on a very high level in their role, it's not going to be always easy to step back, because sometimes we don't even know we don't even know what that femininity looks like, because that's a foreign concept to us. That's what white women get to do. That's what Hispanic women get to do. That's what Asian women get to do. That's what these other women get to do. We don't have that luxury. Or we feel like we don't have that luxury.
When you say they get to do it, what is the distinction that you think that they get to do it and you don't? What makes you say that?
Okay, so, and I'm not saying women are just these emotional, crazy women, but women are emotional creatures, right? A white woman can be confronted by something, and a white woman can get upset, and she can cry, and she could have a moment, she could throw a fit, and it's okay. It's seen as, she's having a bad day, she's having a bad moment. Oh my God. The same thing with a Hispanic woman or an Asian woman. Black women don't get to do that, and black women don't get to have these feelings and really be in these very real and raw emotions, because we are either seen as combative by, and I'm not even talking about the outside world. I'm still talking about inside our black bubble, right?
Okay.
We're seen as combative. You talk back, or you weak, and sometimes it feels like we're on a tightrope, because we don't know what we can be or what we should be. So what we've decided to do is self-preservation. Right.
The defense kicks in.
Yes,
the
the defense kicks in, because I can't allow myself to even feel this, because I feel like I don't have any reinforcements from the man. But I still have this other life that I have to do, these children. I have to still create this home, and and we want to be able to be soft and demure and feminine, and have these emotions without being ridiculed, because we have these emotions. Because we're women just like all these other women, and we have emotions, and we have our ups and our downs, and we have these moments where we just want to be able to feel like we are protected, no matter how we feel, no matter how, no matter what the situation is, and it's not going to be weaponized against us. Our emotions won't be weaponized against us. What I'm trying to say, and all that I just said.
Okay. So I want to go back to one thing before we touch on that. So, like you think you mentioned what you said. We're strong, independent women, right? So I think a lot of times we use words in a certain context, but we don't really go in to do a deep dive of what the definition is, right? So independent basically means free from outside control, not dependent on another's authority, right? And so the thing is, that's the first definition of that, right? And so a lot of times I hear a lot of women, talk about how independent they are and everything else, and it puts this image up to a lot of men, like, okay, so you're free from anybody else's control. Will that be me if I come in?
But when you hear independent, you don't automatically go to the definition and say you're free from your control. That's what you hear now because it's what you just read. If you hear a woman says I'm independent, your automatic thought is she is used to doing and can do everything on her own, and it has nothing to do with control. It means, and usually it means the reason why I am independent is because I've had to be, and usually, and I'm not saying for all, but usually that means that somewhere down the line I gave a man some trust, and I entrusted him with myself, with me as a person. And somewhere down the line, he took that trust and he betrayed it. He bastardized it. He did something to it. Now it's put me in a position to where I can't trust you anymore. So now I have to be independent. And my independence is based on my survival.
But listen to what you just said. Somebody else did it, and I can't trust you anymore. I don't stand a fighting chance now.
Well, right, and I understand that, but when I say that, I'm talking in general.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, yeah.
But that in general starts to come in, and it starts to be like this cape that you want to take off.
Yeah,
it starts to be like this cape that not only you wear, you get it in different colors,
yeah.
and then you get it to match the hair and the shoes, and all of a sudden
it's our suit of armor.
It's your suit of armor,
yeah,
and so
absolutely.
now it's kind of like, okay, well you're independent, all right, so you can't be screaming independence and also crying loneliness at the same time, because you're going to have to shed that independence. And so what happens is, I think a lot of times, and I've heard this too, is like, well, we've had to do this for so long that now, I often wonder, how do you take that? When somebody says, I had to do this for so long, do I take it and say, that sounds like a personal problem that I don't know if I should be able, I don't know if I should have to take that on because you've had to do it so long, or should you be like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to help you work through this, because now guess what I have to do? I have to do the same thing back in this world where they say we got to be 2 times as good to get half as, I got to be 2 times as good of a man to get half of what you want. Because
so what's the alternative?
The alternative is you have to be willing. After that heartbreak, you literally, life is, you have to go back out there and do it again, because guess what? If we want to use anything else in life, that career you work for.
I feel like this is a conversation for next week.
Okay.
Because we and it's a good conversation, but we're focusing more on the woman.
Okay. So yeah, but we focus more on, okay.
No,
so
I'm saying I want to continue this, but I feel like,
okay.
I feel like it's gonna be, it'll be better in the conversation next week.
Got you. Okay. So now, when you got to the second point I wanted to go back to is when you were talking about the point you was making. Now we were talking about the independence, and my brain slipped. But the last point you made was, you don't remember either, do you?
No.
Okay. So
could you tell in my face?
Yeah, I can tell your face. So
what was it about being in our feminine energy?
And strong, being strong. And things
okay.
like that. Okay. So, the thing is that
do you want us to be in our feminine energy? We
want you to be in your feminine energy. How does that feel
to y'all?
It feels great when you operate in your feminine energy, right?
How many black women do you know that fully operate in their feminine energy? Or do you know more black women that do operate in their feminine energy as opposed to the? Because it isn't either one or the other. We're not, like I say, we're not a monolith, but
so that nobody says, "Oh, in my small sphere of a reach," I would say not very many.
Wow. And do you know that's sad?
I would say not very many. Because, and I'm gonna tell you, so, but I'm dualities again, right? Mm-hmm. This is something that I feel comfortable sharing. It happened in my own household.
Don't get beat up.
I'm not gonna get beat up because my wife operates a lot in her femininity. She was, she has the background of being an athlete, so she got that type of toughness in her. But she also likes to be girl. But it was something that I wanted to move. And I called a buddy of mine, and so as her husband, calling a buddy of mine to come move something, it's almost like she got offended. And she said, "You don't think I can move it?" Oh, I'm creating a situation because this is what we're told we're supposed to do, right, to where you don't have to, lift this. Do I think she could have? Yes, she could have. But I had a buddy who lives around the corner. Hey, man, I want to move this. Don't worry about it. And so now it does go into a situation where there's like mixed signals because now if I say, "Yo, grab this couch on your back and let's go," now it's like, "Oh my God, you treat me like I'm some type of mule or something like that," right? But as a woman who operates in that feminine sphere, the first thing kicked in was like, "Whoa, why you got to call another man over here?" You know what I'm saying? And so
that's muscle memory.
So the thing is that we a lot of times we're like, okay, so you're strong. So you want to talk about your message, and we focus on the man. We start to treat you as you say you are,
right?
But I'm telling you something. When you're in a safe space, I'll say this: when you're in a safe space and you are operating with somebody who cares about you, you will be surprised at how that feminine energy works. It's your strength.
I was going to ask you, what does from a black man's perspective, what does black feminine energy look like to you? What is your definition of it, and what is it that you like to see, or what you like about it?
What I like about it, first and foremost, is it looks like you're operating in your natural state. Yeah. That's what I like about it. What I like about it personally is I don't feel I have to compete for this masculine energy, whatever is in
Ladies,
this room.
Listen to this, because I hear this over and over and over again. And sometimes I don't even think that, I don't mean to cut you off, but sometimes I don't even think that we even are aware that we are in this competition with our men. And when I hear, because I've heard this over and over again, I don't want to have to compete with you on my spot in my role. So that's
because think about the flip side. What if you start feeling like you had to compete with me in your spot? It would be like, get him out of here next, because what we ain't gonna do is fight for the lipstick, right? And so the thing is that I start to feel that, and so now again, as we are framing this to where your message is to me, I want to ask. You talked about that muscle memory, and it. The times, have you noticed that? And I know, and for those who know, that you desire to be a Southern belle. Blanche Devereaux and what's my Delta Burke was on Designing Women.
Katie Scarlett O'Hara, honey.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was like that. That's
the ultimate.
That's where you. But have you ever been in a situation where you felt you needed to compete, like to I guess big up yourself in certain situations?
It's not that I needed to compete. I have felt like if I didn't interject myself in it, that it was not going to go right. It was not going to be right. And instead of stepping back and letting, and this is the tightrope that we walk, right? Because everything within us is saying, just let him handle it. But you see that he's going straight into destruction. And you y'all are not so easy with taking wise counsel sometimes, especially from a female, from no matter who it is, even if it is your wife.
Yeah.
Most of the times it is your wife, and you still are not comfortable with
Yeah.
taking.
Well, can I tell you why, real quick?
Uh-huh.
Y'all don't understand how we learn. Little boys get stuff, and we're tear it apart, figure it out, fix it.
But you're not a little boy. You're a grown ass man.
Understand, but the learning,
Right.
the learning practice still remains the same. And so if I'm a touch it person, you can't then tell me that you have to be now an audible learner, because we've learned in education systems
Yeah.
that you don't change how that you know what?
But here's a problem with that. It's not. I don't want to say it's a problem. Here is the issue, which is still the problem. With that is that while I completely understand that, when it is something that is going to be a detriment to our family, to our finances, to our livelihood, to something, any type of interruption to our normal way to homeostasis of our life, right? It is very hard to sit back and let you crash into this head first. And if you have to, women have to have this unique way of having to be there and try to steer you away from it and still not make you feel like you being emasculated, right? And the male ego is the most strangest.
It's the Siamese twin to the female self-esteem.
Yes,
That's what it is.
It is very. I mean, this thing could go either way, and sometimes you and if you've been there over and over again and you get tired and you just be like, damn it, I got to be this and this and I'll deal with it later.
Okay, so you as the woman and dealing with us, you say you see this destruction
because here, and I say this is the reason why I say this. Men see the big picture. Women see the details.
Yeah.
And that is why, and God made us that way, right? Because it's the beautiful song and dance of who we are and how we were created. That's why when I hear people say, I don't need a man, I don't need a woman. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Because if you did not need it, then God would not have created us the way that he did, structured our bodies, our mind, even our DNA the way that he did, if we did not need each other, right? We need each other like our lungs need air.
Yes.
Okay. So I forgot what was I saying?
You were talking about the way that we operate together, big picture, small picture.
Yeah. So men see the big picture, women see the details, and I can we can almost see what's in, and then when it happens.
But now, you know what that is? That's second mothering. And so now,
so you don't want to be mothered.
I don't want to be mothered.
So you want me to let you crash?
But here's the thing: in my crash is when I find my direction. And I'm gonna tell you, if you got with somebody, a wise man, so which means that now you have to make sure you select. But if you got with a wise man and he's going to take some chances, but not chances that usually is going to tank you. If you're with somebody who's taking all these chances going to tank you, you're with the wrong person.
Right.
But if you have trusted me and I say, listen, this is how I do, because what my big picture can't be bogged down sometimes in the details.
Right. Well, but the big picture is made up of the details.
I understand
and let me say this. And we do this a lot, women. That's what we do. And we stand by and we let it happen, and then we do this. It's okay. We'll do it. It's fine. We'll find a way to make it work. I'll clean it up. I'll make sure, and we understand that.
But so now, a lot of times, and I love how you said it. It was like, hey, we'll make it work. We'll do this. And then all of a sudden you come in, right? So the visionary skill set of the man
Right,
goes
Tammy.
through and we start to plow stuff. You know, we making things happen. And you said, okay, well, I see the details. Well, you can't always see the details because you don't hold the vision. You think you see the details sometimes. And I'm not saying there ain't something that we missed or something that we didn't go at this moment, but it's so much bigger than this one little thing. We can always adjust this. But what happens is if you take a adventurous child, the reason most kids suffer in school today is because we still operate on the old premise of school started in church. What you do in church? Sit down, shut up. Just, kids learn better. We learn better when we're out and about. So a lot of times, even in life, we're still learning because we're still trying to find this way. And I say this: if you're with somebody that you know is a provider through provision and protection, everything else, ask yourself, how many times have you been asked out on any of his moves? You haven't, because he's going to make sure that you're always taken care of. I'm not doing that with you. But it's like, well, what? That's how these kids got here.
So I like I said, I've tried my best. And I feel like we've done a really good job.
But what do we do to, as a man, what do we do as the visionary, as we see the big picture? What do we do to get that out so it can be in the atmosphere so that we can start to put the pieces together, but not take away your skill set of the detail, but also giving us the freedom to move? How do we do that?
Very easily. Communicate. Because sometimes, and I get it, men are tunnel vision. And that's how you get things done. Because you don't allow other outside forces and emotions.
You get very focused
and
on
to deter you from what you need. Now, once you get to the finish line and you look back and you say, well, I didn't know all this was going on. I didn't know this on this side was going on. I didn't know this had collapsed over here and all this. Well, yeah, because you were, communicate. Tell us, okay, this is the big picture. This is my goal. This is where I want to get to. And I am going to get to it. And if we say, okay, I understand that, but I think that we should do this, even if you disagree, okay, I understand why you think that, but I believe that this is the best way to get to it. And if we don't get to it this way, it's all on me. Sometimes men don't tell you what the goal is or what it is. They just want to get there, and then we're supposed to just go along. And you think, well, you're supposed to, woman, hush, shut up, and just go along with it, And
we got this.
We got this.
Yeah.
And the women are like, yeah, I understand that you got this, but you do understand that you're bringing along me and everybody else with you. And we are still people. We are still humans. We still have needs and thoughts and feelings and perspectives that can be given to you to help you get to your communicate. Let me know. And when it feels like it's too much, tell me.
When what's too much?
When you're trying to achieve your goal. When it feels like it's too much, communicate that. Tell me. Don't be afraid. Like what's the phrase? You don't know how much I can take or how much I can do because you've never applied pressure. Right? Because I understand in your mind, you're thinking I'm protecting you, but really what you're doing is you're hurting me and you're hurting yourself. Let me know. Okay, this is a little too much right now. Okay, well, let me give you this perspective, because what I'm supposed to do is come in and support you, but I can't support something that I don't understand what's going on, because you in your head you're thinking I'm just going to get there. Be damned of how I get there, but my goal is to get there. And I get it. That's how men think. I don't give a damn about somebody's feelings. I don't give a damn about somebody's,
We got to get it.
we got to get it.
Yeah.
And that journey is never easy. Because if it was an easy journey, hell, everybody be there, right? We understand that journey is not easy, but communicate with us. Let us know. And when you feel like you're tired, let us know. Hey, I'm tired.
But so what happens is
Don't be afraid to tell us that you're tired.
but what happens is there can be so much that's on the edge for what we're working on together, right? Mm-hmm. And when I come and say I'm tired, there is a level of, well, if you're tired and I'm tired, then who presses on? No different than when we get in situations where most time you get tired when you start worrying about stuff and things like that, right? But so you got to understand this from our perspective. We look at a lot of stuff.
But if we're telling you, hey, when you get tired, let me know. Do that. Trust me that I'm the person that you chose, right?
But guess what?
No,
guess
not
what?
you.
But guess what?
I'm not supposed to. Sorry, y'all. Keeps trying to creep up and bubble up. We haven't.
But you gotta understand, I'm here with you.
Right.
I see the stuff you do too. I can't now take what I got and say, man, I'm tired. Here you go. Because you got a long list of stuff too.
I'm not asking you to give it to me. Communicate to me that you're tired.
But guess what? 9 times out of 10, because
are you hearing what I'm saying?
I'm hearing what you're saying.
Because I didn't hear you say what I heard you say.
What I heard you say, what I heard you say is, we can take on some of this too. What I hope you hear me say is, I heard you tell me you were already tired, because it's easier for you to tell me you're tired. I internalize that. Mm-hmm. In my protection mode, I'm not going to put anything more on you. If anybody got to suffer, it'll be me. I'll take this. Because I heard you say yesterday, I was tired. I heard you say last week, man, this is a lot. Man, it's so much going on. And I'm taking all that. And guess what? Me and you are fans of the show King of Queens. When Doug said, put the burden on me, just put it on me, pile it on me.
Right.
I'll take, my shoulders were built for it. And so now I might have been tired at the same time. Or I possibly was going to come into you and say I'm tired. And then you told me, you won't get that out of me, because somebody has to take it.
Right. And I understand that. But if I am telling you in the beginning, mm-hmm. no matter if you think I'm tired or not, let me know that you're tired. Tell me that you're tired. All I want you to do is to communicate, because I may say that I'm tired. It doesn't mean that I can't keep going.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that I can't find a way to relieve some of that burden from you, because yeah, I'm tired, but it doesn't mean that I'm broken down.
How do we protect you and you're tired how do we protect you if we're both in this race and I know you get tired? I want as a man, because you're asking me to do this. Okay, I can go with that. But now I also got this other suitcase called protection. Mm-hmm. What do I do? What do I do with this one?
I mean, just one doesn't cancel out the other one. And I know that's a hard concept for men to understand. Mm-hmm. And I love that. Men who really function in that role of being a protector, right? Mm-hmm. But understand, while I am a woman and I love my femininity, and I am still strong. I am still a strong being, and I'm here to support you. So if I say, well, I'm tired, I'm tired too, but and I know that you're tired, mm-hmm. and I'm also tired. Okay, you know what? You're tired, I'm tired. What do we do when we're tired? Let's take a respite. We're not going to lay down and just let it mull us over. We're going to rest together, right? There's nothing wrong with that. We may not get. We may say we're going to get it on day 4. We have to get it on day 6. Why? Because we stop and we rested together. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you communicate to me that because here's the other thing that women are supposed to do. We have the sense that God gave us to say, hey, you're doing too much. Calm down. take a rest. Because if not, y'all will work yourselves into the ground. And that's what we're here for. We are here to support you in every facet, right? And so sometimes it's okay for us to say, I know you're tired. I'm tired too. And I see that you're more tired than I am because you are carrying this load and this protection. And my protection for you is to say, it is okay to rest. It is. I know you want to get there at this particular moment, and if you don't, that's okay because I still love you. As a matter of fact, I love you more because I see your struggles. I see you progressing. I see your perseverance. I see that you're trying to get there, and I'm going to make sure I do everything I can to make sure that you get there too. But when you get there, I don't need you to be tired because I want you to be able to celebrate and live in whatever it is that you're trying to get to. Right. So tell me that you're tired so that I can create a space for you to rest. That's what the communication. That's where the communication comes in. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, and I think that when we, I think one of the things in that situation, if we are going to do that, that level of communication, also
that has to start somewhere. Though.
It has to start somewhere, and then if I do it, I think then it becomes another understanding. It becomes an understanding of okay, so I'll do that. I'll let you know. But please, let's not turn this into
a competition.
No, a forever conversation. I'm tired. Okay, cool. You rest, isn't it? You tired? How much tired are you? Are you this tired? Are you tired today? Yeah, I think you're still tired. Because what we try to avoid is that conversation, and so sometimes we withhold. Some stuff because it's like I'm not trying to talk about this forever. I just wanted to.
Here's the thing: if that happens, ask why. What is the need to keep coming back to this conversation?
And you know what I've learned even in my own relationship, because you guys care. And
now when we stop asking.
But but what we're saying is you guys a few less times, so
careless.
Yeah. So the thing is, you feel that, but sometimes
I feel like we need like a 3-hour show because I didn't get to all my points at it's 9:00.
Yeah. Oh my. Well, I would say this. Sometimes we understand and we feel that when you care, but sometimes in our lane. We do have to be so single mind focused that if you allow anything else to come in, it derails you.
It does.
For us,
and we understand that
because we don't operate. The best place for a man, like y'all call it a rut. The best place for us to be is in a groove. Some may call it a rut. We say, no, get me here because I don't need a lot of maneuvering opportunity because I get in trouble when I just get me right here and let's go. So I think a lot of times that's where we go. And I want to can we get to at least one more of your points because I know you had some good ones and we was gonna do part 2 next. We might finish this one and then go into and then keep it going. So, but I did want to get to another one.
I wanted to go back to because it's very important. I feel like it's very important for Black men to understand their power, and I do understand that it was set up from the very beginning for you to not even understand the gravity of your power because it's dangerous. It's dangerous to everybody who is not you, right? Or us, I should say. And it saddens me sometimes when I feel like you guys function at such a low vibration and you use these pockets of excuses to keep yourselves back. And it's not a competition. And if I say, Black women have been able to navigate through all of this bullshit, right? In this white America, right? In this white world, and as a woman, right? As a Black woman who we get picked last for everything. Unless we're shaking our ass or being some type of sex symbol, we have to work extra hard to be taken seriously. Judge Ketanji Jackson Brown, she got a lot of names. She's a perfect example, right? She has a lot of names. And we don't get to use the excuse that black men use. And sometimes we sit back and we listen to the excuses that I don't want to say they're all, because sometimes there are excuses, but they're valid points. I don't want to invalidate the struggles that you guys have, because we see it, we know it, we feel it. And it's scary for us because we have husbands, we have sons, we have brothers, and we understand that when you go out every day, there is a target on your back. We understand that. But sometimes you take those and you use those as a crutch to not progress forward in whatever. And it's not even about education. And that video that I sent you, when he was like, everybody else is progressing, what are y'all still doing? And I've said this to you. Sometimes it feels like black men are the Republicans of our community. And what does that mean, Shannon? Well, Republicans have been known to disagree with just about everything, but they have no solutions. They hated Obamacare, and when it came time for them they had a president in office, when it came time for them to present with something, with an alternative, they had nothing. And sometimes it feels like that. Okay. Sometimes it feels like all you want to do is complain about what we are doing, and when we turn around and say, well, what are you doing, then we're being met with the hostile language and behavior towards us. And all I want to say is, you guys are the epitome of greatness. And it is almost painful sometimes to, when you look at the prisons, and when you look at, the black men on the corners, and because if you can count money like that, as a drug dealer, you can go working in finance.
But have you seen finance? Have you been exposed to finance? Have you been given an opportunity? Because see, the thing is, if you can stand on a corner like that, there's a psychology behind it when you start to ask, okay, what made that appealing to you? Because a lot of times the area I grew up in, the only person who had money was the person who did that. So,
but what about the person who grew up in that area, who did not see finance, but knew that that's not what they wanted to be, and they went out and sought, and they had, because
we know of those stories, but we also know that that's not going to be the majority. So we can always
So how do we fix that?
Well, okay, so we fix that in a way that it usually starts at home. But at home, every house has its own mailbox, which means every house has its own mail in business. It's hard to go and infiltrate somebody else's home. And what I was saying was, we can look and tell. Like, you can go into an area in Dallas,
right,
and pull up zip codes and see where most of the prison population. Do you know, I heard a stat that said it was 75216, 75214. It was a few of them. It was just in Oak Cliff, over by the Roosevelt area, by the South Oak Cliff areas, that make up, in Pleasant Grove and South Dallas, makes up 60 to 70% of the prison population in Texas.
In Texas, not in Dallas.
In Texas.
In Texas.
So what you can't do is say, well, what about that one? I understand about that one, but let's ask ourselves, let's not the one. What about the 9 that did? Why didn't they progress? Because what was that pitfall? We talk about the prison, school to prison pipeline is literally set up for us to do that. And again, I said it earlier, they see me coming, right? The attack is not on you. Because as long as I allow you as a woman to flourish, you will then look down on me and we will take this black nuclear family and blow it up. I got to get him. So now we look at even the policies that are put into place by politicians that look like us, like Dwayne Carraway, who wanted to try to implement the sagging policy. And I asked myself, universally, I start hearing black people say, "Oh my God, that's so good. I'm so tired of seeing these boys their pants up and hang off their ass." Okay. So now we're gonna put fashion police control. We're gonna put fashion control into the hands of police. So Billy on the north side of town has his pants sagging out. Billy, pull your pants up. Tyrone on the south side, he gets a ticket. His mama can't pay it. Somebody goes to jail. Somebody has to take off work, go to court, and it keeps this cycle going. All I'm saying is, we do have the power.
I just want y'all to do better.
We try to do certain things, but I know we're talking in general. We're going to go to your home. Your husband, by all accounts, is a successful black man in his world. But you still hear him say where this roadblock was, where this brick wall was. And you say, man, if those things would get out the way, he could go way through the roof. He has the fortitude to even get where he is now. There are a lot, because I've heard you talk about your father-in-law and the type of guy he is. Well, what if you don't have that guy or that mom, and now you don't have that
Well,
fortitude?
honestly speaking, the kind of father-in-law I have, David Lee should be way further than what.
But you know, the thing is that, not to compare one success to the other, but if you don't have that, it's hard to go. So I want to ask, because we are talking about, this is a message, I want to ask you, because I want to know, because sometimes it feels as, I know you said, do you feel that in general, across the land, that the black women look at the black man and feel like he got it? Or do they look at us and say, I can do better than him? Is it the competition, or do they feel more like you say they have it, they just need to push on and we can help them push on?
No, the general consensus, I don't think that black women look at black men and feel like it's a competition at all. I think, and this is going to be sad to say, I think that, and I'm not speaking for all black women, I think that black women look at black men right now and just say, I'd just rather be by myself at this point. Because we're tired. And we feel like we feel like that we're not going to be protected. We feel like that we might as well give up before we even start, if that makes sense. There is a huge disconnect between us, right? And it's almost like I'm tired before I'm too tired to even deal with it. So I'm not going to deal with it.
Okay, so I heard you say,
there you go.
We feel like I'm not going to be protected. And we feel so tired that it's like, is it even worth it? What I hear is a defeatist attitude. And the thing is, again, you being one person, are you protected by your husband?
Yeah. I'm protected. I'm protected by me as Shannon.
Yeah.
I feel strongly protected by every man that is in my life. Do other women have that? And that's a privilege.
Here's another point I want to make. You feel protected by every man that's in your life, right? And a lot of those men that are protective over you, are they married or single?
They're married.
So you start to see that it wasn't just one guy that was made that's going to be protective over this woman. You say, okay, so your husband, okay, You talk about your cousins.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you talk about your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Me. We're all married men who present that.
I only surround myself with men.
What I'm saying is, we're out there. There are other men out there that can be that have that trait. But if you walk in and say, I'm tired,
Right.
and I don't even know if this is worth it, because most married women can speak to this point. It's not going to be perfect.
No.
There's some things that you're going to have to concede to.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is,
what are you willing to?
What are you willing to do? Because remember, you were independent, free of anybody else's control. And if you want, and you talk about protection, I've said this on this show so many times. We cannot protect what we cannot control.
This is true.
It is impossible. The president of the United States is the most powerful person. He can't move until his protection. I want to go left. Secret Service say, no, you going right.
Right.
Now he says, yeah, but I want to go left. Okay, Mr. President, let us see if there is a way that we can go that direction.
Right. He still has to have.
They look, and if they come back and say there is no safe route for that, guess what he can't do?
I'm not saying that black women look at, because I strongly feel that black women love black men, and I strongly feel that black women still have a sense of reverence about black men. But I do know that black women feel like they have been let down by black men. And I do know that black men feel like they have been let down by black women, which is the reason why we're having this conversation, right? But there are women who they just feel like, I would just rather just be by myself, because they feel like that there is nothing else that they feel like that when you come into their lives, you're going to take away from, and there's been so many withdrawals and not enough deposits. They feel like they don't have anything else to give. And it's sad because there are a lot of good black men out there. And I will venture to say that there are so many good black men out there, but they are met with resistance from black women, which then makes black men feel like, oh, y'all are bitter, and in a sense they are, because they have been that are right, because they have been so hurt and they have been let down, and there are black men saying, well, hell, that ain't me, and the black women saying, well, it may not be you, but if I give you a chance and it does become you, now here I am again left. I've given you everything and you have withdrawn everything from me, and you have not deposited anything positive into my life. So where does that leave me? And that is a real conversation. Now, we can act like, oh, that's a defeatist attitude, but that is called a reality.
Okay. And I hear that, but that's also that you said that's reality. It is reality. You have to go through that.
I understand that.
You have to, because if you don't, you won't find.
Right.
And what happens is when you say, I just rather be myself, you have now put the thought process in your head that I'm better off alone. And we were not created to be alone.
Right.
And so not.
And this is why we're having these conversations, because we want to start healing. It is not like, I hate to see some of these messages and these posts sometimes from black women and from black men about how they speak about each other, and I'm thinking to myself, no, because like I said, I love the way black men talk, the way they walk, their presence, the way that, if you've ever been in a room full of none of us and a black man walks in, the atmosphere changes dramatically. And there's envy, there's admiration, there's a little bit of both, a little bit of mixture. No other man can do that. And I'm not knocking Asians or whoever, but there is a presence, there is a supreme and superior presence about a black man. and everybody is drawn and attracted to you, which makes you a huge target, right? A huge target. And I want you to understand that Black women understand that. We understand that we are not your enemies. We want to be able to create a safe space for you so that you can come to us when you are tired, when you are weary, when you are frustrated. You don't have to feel like you have to put all of this on your shoulders. But when we provide that safe space for you, don't bastardize it. Don't use it to and weaponize it against us. Don't make us feel like, well, shit, I've done all of this. I thought I was doing the right thing, and then you turn around and make me feel like I'm less than and I'm worthless because I provided the space for you. And now there's a resentment, right? And now the resentment follows from me into my children, into generations, and now we are splintered. Now we are a splintered people. And the reason why this is very important is because Black people in general are bastards. We are in a foreign land.
We are the only homeless race on
We
this
are
planet.
we are a homeless race.
American-born Blacks.
American-born Blacks,
Yeah.
right? And that already is traumatic enough.
Which is why we act like we do a lot of times.
Yes. So we have to stop hurting each other, Black man, Black woman, because we are in this world inside another world, right? And we already know when we walk out our world, mass chaos. We need to eradicate the chaotic mess that is within us, right? And it's not just Black man's fault, because we'll go talk about this when we get to the Black women, because Black women shoulder a lot of the blame. But please understand that we want you guys to do better, because when you do better, everything else falls in line. And I don't care what nobody says, we need you. You are the most pivotal, the most important asset to us. You are our asset. Without you, we don't exist, because you give us our legacy. You give us our bloodline. You are the reason why we exist. We carry the baby, but you create it. It's your seed. So we need you. And since we need you to get your shit together.
And you know the thing is that even the words do better. I'm gonna tell you why. Because
is that
I know
offensive?
I'm gonna tell you why it's not offensive, because who can't do better?
Right.
Right? And I think for us to rise up, do we all have to do better? Yes. But in this specific time, when you're saying, hey, for us to do better, then it's not offensive, because tell me somebody is doing it all right. Right. I think when we look and we see, and what we got to understand also, because I know me and you are both out there on the social media, platforms, and you see a lot of these comments in some of these groups and things like that. Most of the time, the loudest ones,
right,
are the ones that nobody really wants anyway, right?
Right.
Because I'm in a couple of groups that are made up of different groups, men that are married or whatever, and you see the gripes, but there's a total different level of communication about the woman in their life. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't always take a man who is kind of out there in the streets versus one that has it. But now there are conversations about some of these same things that we were talking about internally. Not feeling respected, not feeling like you have the safe space. And these are people who have already done the actual holy matrimony, right? But no, I don't take it as offense, because I want all of us to do better, and we are the head. And I just think that we need to make sure that, one of the things I tell my wife all the time is, if I'm not first, then we're last.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I have to get mine first. And as the helpmate, you have to know he has to get his first. Now, let's look at order of operation. We put it into the king and queen scenario. When the king gets elected, the masses go and celebrate and do for the king. If he's a good king, he returns the adoration, the riches, the spoils of the war, and everything else. He doesn't say ascend to kingship and then say, "Hey, I'm going to go out here and do all that." It doesn't happen that way,
Right.
because once he feels that, hey, these people have my back. If I'm a visionary and people are willing to follow my vision and not question, how many times have you been in the car with somebody you're driving and they got all the damn directions? You know what? Do you want to get over here? Right? And so sometimes it's like, you know what? Sometimes you got to go. And sometimes, guess what? If I make the wrong turn, let's not be in a situation where we are talking so much about the wrong turn versus, hey, you know what? On this next one, like you made a wrong turn, next one, go up and make it right. And the solution. Because men like solutions.
But are you going to listen to the solution?
If you are wise.
Right.
If you are wise. Because now we get into the wisdom of a person and the wisdom of a man. And I hope that you're choosing guys who have wisdom, because wisdom over ego allows you to move a lot differently. Now, you want a man with ego, right?
Listen.
You want a man with ego, right?
Yes.
But he must align his ability to take wise counsel along with his ego. You notice I didn't say balance. He must align his way to do that.
You said the women should choose the wise man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to bring something up, but I'm gonna save that because are we gonna do part 2 to this?
We might have to do
part 2
and 3. Yeah.
We'll bring that up. I'll bring it up the next time. But I want to end on this.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you a question. I don't know if I even asked you this question or not already. If I did, answer it again because I can't remember. As a black man,
mm-hmm.
do you feel loved by black women?
Yes.
Yes.
I do. I feel I go in spaces where there are black women and you can feel it,
mm-hmm.
right? Because we have a communal type mm-hmm. relationship with each other.
And black women have a way of loving anything that comes into their
I don't feel that I'm hated by black women in general, right?
Yeah.
I do sense that it's like there's a feeling sometimes of I don't know. I don't even know the correct words. I do feel that it's a sense of move out the way, we got this now, almost. If that's making sense.
Yeah. Not
so much that I hate you, but you know what? It's outside because now
almost like you're not needed.
Like we're not needed. And I'm glad you brought the word need up. Men need to feel needed.
Yeah.
Because if you wonder why the ugly woman down the street got your man, it's because she said, "Can you help me change his light bulb?" And he changed the light. I ain't never seen. I just need somebody once in a while to change the light bulb, and the light bulbs he's changing at home. You ain't did nothing. I can change the light bulbs. And so what happened is, I wanna feel like I'm needed, because women want to be wanted. Men need to be needed.
Yeah.
Now, I have some pushbacks from men. "Well, I don't need you, need me." I said, here's the thing. The moment a woman tells you, "I don't need you, I just want you," I said, you feel disposable.
Mm-hmm.
Now.
And I see women say that all the time. when the question is asked by a man, ladies, do you need a man? I don't need a man. I want a man. No, I need a man. I was created to need a man. I'm not one of those women who feel like, oh, I can do it all by myself.
What did you say? What did you say when the black man walks in the room? What did you say? There was a whole different energy.
Yeah.
Well, how could you not need that energy? No different is when we come and say, when we do, because we wait sometimes too long and we break down, we say, and we got a good one, black woman, man, I tried this and that. And you say they have a unique way of making you, like, if she really for you, she has a unique way, and you say, you know what? I can go out there and do that. Because I'm going to tell you, your man accomplishes more if you send him out the house with confidence than if you send him out the house having to worry about, am I going to hear a fight when I get home and things like that. So
because you don't want to have to fight outside and come
and inside. Yeah.
What did James Baldwin say? He said, oh, maybe he said something. That was different context. When he said he don't want to have to smile and shuck and jive
outside and then come
fake
it when I come home. He said I have to, at some point this performance has to come off.
Yeah.
And so we need that space sometimes. And who's the closest person to you? The person you're in a relationship with, right? You have to be able to know that person and understand, is what they doing to me a lash out at something somewhere else that they can't do it?
Yeah.
Or are they just being mean to me?
Yeah.
And sometimes give that person that leeway to do that. And then also have that conversation. Say, all right. And the thing is that, as you, like you said, I know you wanted to close on that. Do I overall feel loved by black women? I do, because the women that I choose to be in my circle, I know
love you.
I know they love me, right?
Do you feel respected by black women? As a black man.
As a black man.
Because men, being loved as a man is great, but a man needs respect.
We absolutely do. Do I feel respected? I do. In general, for this reason. I carry myself in a certain way. I am usually in the company of a certain caliber of women, and I'm not because I'm a married man, I don't approach women to talk to them, so I don't know that aspect of being out and having people respect you, because I'm usually not coming up to them aggressively trying to pursue them, or I'm never coming up to them trying to pursue them in that way. So I don't know how that goes, but I just know that I deal with a lot of women in this business, and I have in general I feel that I feel that women respect me.
I know we have to go, but LaDon Richardson, shout out to Kimball alumni. LaDon says, hell no. Is that a hell no to you don't feel loved or you don't feel respect by black women?
And I'm gonna tell you, as he responds to that, we in two different places.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And because my dominant woman interaction is my wife.
Right.
Right. Let
me say this. LaDon is one of those, to me, and I've been on LaDon, I think, 2W Brown, right? Mm-hmm. LaDon is one of those guys, and I don't hang around with him, all the time. But LaDon is one of those guys where I would feel comfortable in being in a space with him, and not feel like I'm going to be uncomfortable.
He's not. Matter of fact, if they were to give a test of
respect
of a protective gene,
yeah,
he has that sometimes to a fault.
Yeah.
And so the thing is,
he's always been that guy since school,
Yeah.
And in school you were in a space where, boys can be managed. He's never been, I don't, when I think about him, I don't remember having a moment with him where I felt like, ugh, and as an adult, the few times that I've seen him, he's always been very respectful. So it kind of saddens me that that man of that caliber was that he's been treated that way and made to feel that way, which takes me back to what I said. There's some really good black men out here that we as black women are just, we're tainting them.
Yeah,
it's,
and like I said,
he said respected,
and I don't want to come off like, oh, everything in the streets out here is hunky dory, but you got to understand, I see. You asked me,
right?
Do I feel and the spaces that I go, I do, because again, the way I move and the places I go and the people I'm around, I haven't felt like, this person is not respecting me as a guy, because in just like I say, my presence and I come in, I'm all man, and we're gonna do it a certain way, right? So the thing is that we're not. I'm not coming into a situation where in a space where you have to question, what it is about me and who I am. I'm pretty much straightforward.
So my question is to the black men who are watching this: do you feel loved and respected by black women? That could be the black women in your life, the black women. Well, it has to be the black women in your life because you don't know other black women. But in your interactions with black women, in your experience with black women, do you feel loved and respected by black women? Because I feel like that's important for us to know.
I will say this too, also. Society can taint even good women.
Yeah.
Right? I've had conversations at my house that me and my wife had, and I said, hey, that was disrespectful to me. And my wife looked at me like, what? To her,
it was.
And that's why I say, do I feel respect? To her, she couldn't fathom that was disrespect until I explained it. Right? And so she was like, oh, I didn't even know. But I can't look at her and say that, oh, I feel disrespected by her, because we had that conversation, and there's been other conversations that she said, and I said, hey, do you know how that makes me feel? And we were able to have the conversation, and she could look at me and say, no, how? And then when we have that conversation, it's like, so now if I just took it on face value, it's like, oh, she's disrespectful.
Yeah.
But what happens is there are certain things that I said, and you're a good woman, and you said this certain thing, and she was like, I didn't even recognize how. I said, because it's been it's a given, like you can say this, because what did I tell you? A lot of times for us, we don't feel like, say we love unconditionally, right? We don't feel like we get that.
And I push back on that.
I know you did, but the thing is that
do.
we feel like, man, we have to be all of this and more to be. Yeah. But I tell you what, we got this part out the way, right?
Right.
I know you got some more points. Yeah,
they were coming up as we were talking.
I want to get to them, and I know we're going to have some more. We go there, so y'all, we're going to continue this conversation. Hey, we on the show. We can do it how we want.
And let me just say this: we have gone an entire show without sarcasm, without insults. Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I had so many. I mean, like they were just like sonic rings.
I had a few of them, and I was like, no, we're not going to do it.
I was trying my best.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Our numbers look pretty good tonight.
Yeah.
These look like election numbers.
But let us know, please, if you like this conversation, because we're going to continue it, because I think we need to be able to have this. We're going to have our fun, and we're going to go back and forth. But, and there was a couple times where even, I'm pretty sure we said something where we wanted to, but that wouldn't have been productive tonight.
Right.
Right. And so we want to be able to have these conversations as intellectual adults to be able to say, okay, let me hear what you say.
Because there is a need. There is a need for a conversation.
Yeah.
And how do you start a conversation? Because it's easy for people to say, well, you could just communicate, talk about it. But there has to be a way.
Willingness.
And there has to be a format. There has to be a way that I feel heard, that you feel heard. But not only feel heard, I need to be able to say, okay, I can comprehend what you're saying, and that I can take what you're saying and apply it. So I don't ever want you to be in a space to where you feel like that again. You know what I'm saying?
So I asked you this as we close. Did you feel heard tonight?
I did feel heard tonight.
Okay.
For the first time. Sorry, y'all. I is
playing. Listen, y'all. We appreciate you tuning in to this episode. Make sure to follow us on Facebook on The Last Podcast 1. And on Instagram is _ The Last Podcast. So we're going to continue this conversation next week. Hopefully we can stay event free in the world, and with something we got to talk about. But we want to keep this conversation going because we want to do message to a Black woman, and it'll be from our perspective. But we still got to finish out her points, and we pretty sure in between time some more is going to come in. Right. In the comment sections, there are things you feel that we left out, you want to say. Please
let us know, because we want to address everything. Nothing is off topic, especially regarding this particular subject. It's very important to us. That's why we took out the sarcasm, because my first language is sarcasm. So the fact that I did not, right, both of us.
That's why we do the last podcast.
But before we go, I do want to say happy heavenly birthday to one of my favorite people ever to grace this earth, my cousin Fat. If you know me, then you know Fat. So happy birthday. I love you. I miss you so much. And thank you to everyone for listening to our show. I think this was a very productive show.
Exactly.
We did
I
really
do too.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. We made it. Mama, we made it.
Lord. My head about to bust. Now, when these cameras go off,
it's back on. Okay. Yeah. Listen, for just behind the scenes information, earlier today, Shannon sent me something in a message, and I just intentionally just started going off on her because I had to get it out of my system. I don't even know if I meant everything I said. I was just
look. I was like,
so that we can provide this show for you guys tonight. So hey, you know what? I don't think we said anything tonight that would make this
the last podcast.
See you guys next week.